I just began all the ladies. What up, y'all? It's the Black Critic Guy, and I'm back again with the new anime review, this time on the anime called The World God Only Knows. So the basic premise of The World God Only Knows follows this guy by the name of Katsuragi Keima, which sounds very close to gamer, and he is an extreme gamer. I'm talking night and day, school or home, asleep or awake, this guy is always gaming. So one day he receives a message offering him the challenge of a lifetime, and him being the arrogant guy he is, he calls himself the God of Conquest, he accepts the challenge, which turned out to be a deal with the devil, literally. And from that deal, he now must assist the spirit hunter by the name of Elsie to capture these beings known as loose souls that are hiding in various girls in the real world or risk getting his head cut off. So I was recommended to watch this anime by one of my subscribers, I'm a cat, meow, 6. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed this anime. You know, I'm a big fan of romantic comedies, and this is chock full of all the romantic comedy tropes that I grew to love, and it's a really entertaining anime. I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun watching it. By the way, if you guys didn't notice, I did a few rearrangements in my room, and if you guys didn't notice, I got a panty and stocking wall scroll that I got from MegaCon. It looks lovely, doesn't it? But enough of panty and stocking, let's get to the review. Now, the first thing that I really liked about this anime was the many references it made to other animes, especially Yurusen Yatsuda. Whenever Elsie would start to fly, it would make this escalating fluttery sound, the same sound that was made whenever Lum would start to fly. I was like, oh my god, I actually noticed that. I appreciate that a lot. The characters in this anime, although many of them are just a bunch of anime cliches and archetypes, are very interesting and well developed. I really loved how they delved into their backstories and we get a deeper understanding of these characters, especially understanding why they feel empty inside, which is why the demons went into them in the first place. But the biggest thing that this anime needed to accomplish was making us believe that Keima and the girls that he was hooking up with had connection and had chemistry, and I think they handled that very well. I mean, you look at Keima, he kind of detaches himself from the real world. He loves the virtual world and hooking up with all the virtual girls, so he doesn't really grow a strong bond with anybody. But as he meets Elsie and he learns about the loose souls and what he needs to do, he executes everything that he learned from the virtual world into the real world and, you know, dissects on how he's gonna do this, how's he gonna hook up with this girl. And from that, you really grow to understand his character and you believe the bonds and connections that he makes with these girls. And you could say that Keima really didn't care about any of these girls. He just did it because it was his job. He had to get rid of those loose souls. But I think that every single girl that he met, every single girl that he built a connection with has changed him in some way, shape, or form. And it really molds this character into a likable person. In the same vein as many game-based animes such as Amagami SS, my personal favorite, and Air TV, my least favorite, this anime really focuses on multiple stories following the main character in his relationship with various girls. And I loved how they focused on each of the girls, and each one of them had a development and each one had a story and you really connected with them. But I think that this anime kind of veers a little into the Air TV side, and I'll explain that in the con section. Some of my favorite stories are actually the first stories at the beginning of each season. In the first season, my favorite story in that entire season was the first story dealing with the girl in track. She was funny, she was entertaining. I loved the way that Gamer would try to get her attention. It was hilarious. And the first story of the second season dealt with this martial artist girl who didn't want to show her feminine side. She hated weak things, and I really loved that development, and it was so hilarious seeing Keima trying to reach out to her. And there were a few other stories that I really liked in this anime, like the one dealing with the library girl and the one dealing with the girl who asks out a bunch of guys but she gets over it really fast. I really enjoyed the ending theme. It's so catchy, it's so poppy, it's uplifting, it always gets me in a good mood. I'm gonna post a link in the description of my favorite ending with all 6 of them singing. It's so positive and uplifting. It's gonna put you in a good mood regardless. The humor in this anime is spot on. It's hilarious. There were some scenes where I actually fell on the floor laughing, and I mean literally fell on the floor. Like in the last episode, there's a song that is sung and I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about it right now and it's hilarious. There's also a scene in the first episode that was the first big joke of the series, and it hit me. I was laughing my ass off. It was hilarious. And the last thing that I really liked about this show is the relationship between Kayla and Elsie is really strong, and it's probably my favorite relationship in this anime. Their relationship is very reminiscent to Botan and Yusuke. Every time I saw them, I was thinking, oh, she's like Botan and he's acting like Yusuke, and I found that hilarious. They had such great chemistry. Probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire series are scenes where they're just hanging out or doing stuff together. In fact, they have whole episodes with each other just doing random shit, and I always found them entertaining, always fun, always hilarious. They are the backbone of this anime, and you really get connected with their characters and their bond. Now, as much as I really enjoyed this anime, there are a couple of things that kind of threw me off and I didn't like about the anime. The first thing that really bothered me was actually the character of Kayla. I like him, but the thing is, they could have made him a little more realistic and could have made him a little more interesting. What I mean by realistic and interesting is I thought they should have made Kayla a fat gamer who's not that attractive, who doesn't know how to talk to real girls. That would have been more realistic, more relatable, and more interesting. And that would add to the comedy as well. Seeing this awkward fat gamer trying to hit on this really hot chick who he never really talks to, or he doesn't know how to hook up with a chick, or he doesn't know how to talk to a girl and ask her out. That would make for some hilarious comical situations. But no, they went with the cliche Bishonen type guy who automatically can hook up with any girl. I really mean, he didn't put any effort whatsoever. He just would do this one thing and then he would hook up with this girl. I'm like, that's no. Because they make it a fact to explain that he really doesn't talk to any real girls, he only talks to the virtual girls in video games. So I think that the translation between talking to a virtual girl to a real girl will be a bit different, but he just seems to coast through it. I'm like, that's not realistic, that's BS. Another thing that would have made this anime a little more interesting is maybe have Kayla gain the affections of a guy. I mean, they could have attacked the whole alienation that a gay person feels at school, and that builds up emptiness, which means a demon's gonna hide inside it, and maybe even put Kayla out of his element, because he's used to talking to girls in video games and stuff, and he's used to talking to real girls, so having him talk to a gay person and gain his affections, that would have made it 10 times more interesting and add even more hilarious situations. Or maybe have him play matchmaker, which they kind of attacked in one episode, but then it just ended up the cliche, oh, I tried to help this girl end up with this guy, but she actually likes me scenario. I'm like, no. The biggest problem that this anime suffers from is a little thing I like to call the Air TV syndrome. And basically what that means is that we get introduced to a girl character, she has her development and backstory, and then she disappears from the anime entirely. Now, sometimes some of the girls do come back, but they don't really have much to say. They're just there to be there for a while and then disappear. And I thought that was wasted potential to build up this romance to have it just fall back to zero. I was like, what was the point of attaching myself to this character if I'm never gonna see her again? And sometimes they even hint at the fact that these girls still have lingering feelings for Kayla, but it never comes to fruition. We never see it again. We had it one time in the second season, and I think a couple of times too, but I don't think they really attacked on it. But one time I noticed that one of the girls that he talked to in the first season still kind of had feelings for him, but again, pushed to the side. But overall, besides its many flaws, I really did enjoy The World God Only Knows. It's a fun romantic comedy anime. If you're a big fan of that, I highly recommend you see it. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's worth watching. But anyway, what did you guys think of this anime? Did you like it a lot? Did you find it dull and interesting? You've seen it before? And let me know, what is your favorite romantic story in an anime? Comment below. Let me know. Also, check out my new video on N4G TV Cinema. It's my second episode. We did my top 5 favorite DreamWorks animated films. Go check it out. Let me know what are your favorite DreamWorks animated films and all that stuff. Subscribe to N4G TV. They're great guides. And I'll be doing a weekly show on there as well, so you can come check me out. Also this week, I'm going to have my radio show, The Final Cut, where we'll be discussing Star Wars films. And before that, I'm going to upload my Parker review, because I also said we were going to do Star Wars films in that review. So I've been meaning to put that back up, and now I finally have a chance. But until then, hit that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Welcome to the Black Critic Guy. Like this video if you really enjoyed it, lovers. And I'm Tony Watley II from the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.